Monica and Huel, this complaint was filed Tuesday, and what it details isn't just shocking. Some say it may be criminal.
Hot dog. There's no shame in my game.
But what's outlined in this formal complaint should at least make him blush. Every count painting a picture of a judge who may have chosen sex over justice. As Fox 2's Charlie LaDuff first reported, Judge McCree was caught up in an affair with Janine Mott, a woman who was going after Robert King for child support. The complaint essentially alleges McCree allowed his relationship to influence his decisions.
Two people from work hook up, they make a baby. It happens. But in this case, they're not colleagues. She stood in his courtroom as a complaining witness in a child support case against her ex. And he was the judge deciding the case. That's creepy, and it's probably illegal.
Hot dog. Yep, that's me.
You remember Third Circuit Court Judge Wade McCree, the buff barrister we caught back in April texting nude pics of himself to a female bailiff?
There's no shame in my game.
His performance was so bizarre that the Michigan Supreme Court took the highly unusual step of censuring him for bringing shame to the profession and acting like a total McCreep.
She said she got it from me? Is that through him or she told you?
Through him.
Oh, so it's still hearsay. Oh.
Well, this isn't hearsay. In the middle of the judge's Supreme Court investigation, His Honor met up with her, Janine Lachey Mott, a woman who had dragged her ex-boyfriend into court on felony charges that he was ducking out on his child support.
I met him as a litigant, a complaining witness in his courtroom, and he stayed around after the case was over, and that's when the second half of the flirting started, and we went from there and our relationship picked up. It went from being a summer fling and just something to do to falling in love, promises of marriage, me getting pregnant, us buying a house together, name it.
Things move fast, Janine says. McCree told her his marriage was loveless. Janine showed us hundreds of messages the two exchanged over the months, including this one where McCree asked her to keep the relationship under the covers. McCree: my judicial tenure commission has me nervous. As you might expect, I have to be real careful until this matter's put to rest. You are the complaining witness on a case that is before me. Naturally, if it got out that we were seeing each other before your baby daddy's case closed, everybody could be in deep shit. Why you want to spend time with a man like me remains a mystery. But if you'll have me, then as Bill Withers said, use me up. Smooches. The text came from McCree's phone number. He still has that number, and this is his voicemail. That's them at a Wolverines game. And that's a check he wrote from his dead mother's estate to help her pay for the house. And these are texts between the two, plotting the punishment of Janine's ex, McCree. Okay, the math will be based on his failures since being placed on probation. But if you're right, the threat of jail will loosen his purse strings. Janine: okay, so let's go with what you proposed. Go to jail 150 days, release upon payment of $1,500, or get a tether and bring back within 30 days $2,500 or serve 9 months. Bonus: pay within 30 days, remove tether. Now back to us. What are we going to do after court Thursday? Janine's ex got tossed in the can, but justice was equal here because Janine's ex got a jail bed and Janine got the judge's bed. Listen to what she says they did after court.
The day of, we then go to his chambers as usual, whether I leave out the front door and he lets me up the back, but in chambers all of the time.
What, sex?
Yes, we have sex in his chambers very often.
Like on his desk?
On his desk, in the chair, the couch, you name it.
Fox 2 legal analyst Charlie Langton says this whole court's out of order.
This judge just got a little invitation from the Supreme Court to, hey, be a good judge just a little while ago, and he couldn't do that. Now, if there are charges, and I suspect there will be charges, certainly ethical charges, if not criminal charges, but the Supreme Court may get a second crack at this judge.
That's what the ex says, and he's no lawyer.
Look at this. I mean, it's basically telling, he's basically listening to her to set me up. It's set up. I can't believe this, man. This is my life right here. They played with my life.
Janine says Judge McCree promised to marry her. She even went with him to file the divorce papers. Then she got pregnant. And then she went to the OBGYN. Janine: have you been sleeping with anyone else during our relationship? Even oral sex? I'm asking now because they are going to run the test to know if the baby's at risk. And I'd rather hear it from you if I do. McCree: You have been my only partner since we encountered each other. So it was supposed to be happily ever after.
It even outlines text messages the commission calls improper, but you'll call downright gross. Like this one. Oh yeah, I text from the bench. After last night, it's all I can do not to off under the bench. And in another message, McCree even makes fun of the people who come through his courtroom, including a man he references as Monica Conyers' nephew. He texts, "Funny, I just had Monica Conyers' nephew before me. Ignorant as usual." And here's another one. Come on, you're talking about the docket from hell, filled with tatted up, overweight, half English-speaking, gap-toothed skank hoes. And then you walk in. I guess that text was some sort of compliment.
Have you ever heard of a judge calling some of his defendants gap-toothed skank hoes?
I have never heard a judge or even a lawyer, and we're not the cleanest people in the world, even suggest such a thing.
Joel Sklar is Robert King's attorney, and he's suing both Judge McCree and Janine Mott because he says all the evidence points to one thing.
They had already made up their minds what they were going to do, and they used a hearing as a sham to put into effect a plan to squeeze money out of Mr. King for their mutual benefit. And it's just not what is supposed to happen in a courtroom.
McCree's attorney sees this a little differently.
Judge McCree is a good judge. He's done a good job in the 16 years he's been on the bench. It's embarrassing that he allowed himself to be put in this position, and I think he should be sanctioned because of that. Judge McCree agrees that he should be sanctioned because of it, but I don't think that this deserves him being removed from the bench, and I don't think he will be.
Even this retired judge says this doesn't smell right.
We don't know how this is going to come out. These are very serious allegations. They look bad.
According to the text sent from McCree's phone, his wife found out about the baby and wouldn't grant him the divorce unless Janine aborted it. McCree: "Yeah, let's talk. I want, and does Laverne, this termination. You'll get whatever you want for it. I've been clear on that from the get-go. Whatever you want, you shall have." Janine: "Oh no, you act like I'm holding this over you. You asked me to get the abortion to help you in your divorce case."
What do you think people will think of you when they hear this?
I'm sure the same thing I would think watching the news story, that she knew what she was getting into messing with a married man. And that's pretty much it. She should have never got involved. She should have known he wasn't going to leave, the typical. And that's why it was a fling, something to do for the summer, and it turned into more with his promises. And of course I believed him with everything his actions. Showed me that he was leaving, he filed for divorce. I mean, it was nothing to say that we weren't moving forward.
Are you going to keep the child?
Yes. I never wanted to have the abortion in the first place.
So why did this woman come to us? Because last week, Judge McCree went to the Wayne County prosecutor, claiming Janine was stalking and extorting him. Judge McCree failed to mention his baby, the house, or the child support case to the investigators. Still, the investigators looked into it and found his complaints baseless.
Removal proceedings underway today for Circuit Court Judge Wade McCree, and his defense has a familiar ring to it. Fox 2's Charlie LaDuff with the story.
Well, we're at the Washtenaw County Courthouse here in Ann Arbor today to hear some pretrial motions in connection with the dismissal case of disgraced Wayne County Circuit Court Judge Wade McCree. Now, well, the hearing was kind of weird. The first thing you got to know is Judge McCree didn't even bother to show up. That surprised even the judge.
I guess it should also be noted on the record that Mr. McCree is not here and evidently is not going to come, correct?
Yeah, there's no no rule that requires him to be here?
No, he didn't have to be here. I just thought he'd have some interest.
Now, the second weird thing about today is Judge McCree seems to be taking a page out of Kwame Kilpatrick's book. His lawyer admits that he was sleeping with the young woman that had a case before him, but those text messages, they can't be confirmed, and at best, they're irrelevant.
They haven't authenticated these messages at all. These have nothing to do with anything other than some titillation over some, I'm sorry to say it, 56-year-old guy who's carrying on a relationship with an attractive, very attractive apparently, I've never seen her, 30-year-old woman.
We are not dealing with an extramarital affair by just anyone. We are dealing with an extramarital affair by a judge who had met his mistress during court proceeding on a case that was pending before him. A case that he had exchanged text messages discussing, communicating, talking about the sentencing of the defendant in a case in which Ms. Mott was the complaining witness.
So the judge ruled the text messages are admissible. Although he sealed them, we'll all be able to hear them come May 20th when the trial kicks off for real.
Today, the woman who was once his mistress testified about their numerous sexual encounters, including some in his chambers.
I asked him how he could be so stupid.
Stupid enough that Judge Wade McCree could lose his job. The star witness for the Judicial Tenure Commission, that's the fact-finding group for the Supreme Court, talked sex and more sex.
Between May and November of 2012, did you engage in sexual conduct with Judge McCree?
Yes, I did.
Numerous times?
Yes.
At least twice at the Westin Hotel?
Yes.
How about Judge McCree's marital home?
Yes.
How about your house?
Yes.
Janine Mott testified that she's pregnant today. But is it the judges?
Ms. Mott, you were never pregnant with Judge McCree's child, were you?
Yes, indeed, I was.
Pardon me?
Yes, indeed.
You're not pregnant with this child now, are you?
I'm not answering any questions related to my pregnancy.
Issue is whether or not Judge McCree committed judicial malpractice or misconduct is what it is. Is he a bad judge? But here's the deal. There was testimony today from Janine Mott that said that the judge was supporting her financially, that the judge gave her $5,000 for a down payment on a house that the two of them supposedly were going to live together, but nevertheless. And here's the deal. The more money the judge could get for Janine Mott from child support from her baby daddy, the less money Judge McCree would have to pay. Therefore, it would appear, and I think this will be an issue here, that the judge has a vested interest in seeing that Janine Mott got money from child support, which was the case in front of the judge. That is bad. Now, Hugh, tomorrow, we're going to hear from Judge McCree. And in the opening statements today, Judge McCree's lawyer, Brian Einhorn, said he's got a defense. It's called hypomania, which I think it's an impulse. I don't know if it's a legitimate diagnosis. We're going to have to find out.
Is that a sex addiction?
I don't know. Sherry, maybe you know about this more than I do.
I don't know personally, but
we're going to hear about it, the sex addiction. Now, whether or not we'll excuse what he did or whatever. Now, we also are going to hear he's on medication for this hypomania. That should come out as early as tomorrow. Stay tuned, as they say, it's going to get it.
Yeah, well, we gave you a little taste yesterday of Judge McCree's testimony, and it was so interesting that we decided to give you the full version. Now, here it is in chronological order. We just cut out the boring tapes, the boring parts of this tape, so let's roll that.
I adjudicate more cases in the Wayne County Circuit Court than any judge in the Wayne County Circuit Court. I confess she was an attractive, striking woman, and she caught my eye. I'm a rather effervescent personality, and sure, we chatted. To use a term, we hit it off. I'm a middle-aged man. She was a young woman. She was pretty, and I'll admit I was excited. I don't want to say that the water came to the horse, but I must say she certainly was coming on to me with an ease that surprised me. It thrilled me. I was flattered. To use the vernacular, maybe my nose got opened a little bit. She would be at the apex of euphoria. She'd be at the abyss of near homicidal anger. You have all that hot passion, all that good steamy romance at the beginning, and it ebbs. If I had a minute, she wanted an hour. If I had an hour, she wanted an afternoon. If I had an afternoon, she wanted an evening. If I had an evening, she wanted a night. I was vulnerable, but my nose was open. I knew what I was doing when I was getting into this relationship. I lusted after this woman. And as my wife calls me, the great accommodator, I was trying to work with her, help her. I tried a couple, 3, 4 times. She would sweet talk me back into it. Oh, wait, things are going to change. They're going to be better. And I'd believe it. So she wanted me. She wanted to become Mrs. McCree. And when I said, no, we can't go at this speed, she said, well, how about if I tell your wife? I was lonely. this woman did fill a void that I was feeling at that time. I apologize.
I'm sorry.
What are you going to run by the prosecutor?
Nothing. With Miss Mott, in many of these matters, you got to tell her what she wants to hear, or she continues to sweat you. She always wanted, the next biscuit. I said, cool, I run it by the prosecutor. All right, we're done.
We've gone through these text messages, about 8 or 9 or 10 of them.
I would delete every message I get. You make it, you delete it, you receive it, you delete it, and so forth.
Why didn't you recuse yourself come Monday morning?
It was an absolute bonehead oversight. I am sorry, Your Honor. I apologize. What's Rachel's dad's name again? Yeah, that does, but you can see, I apologize. I didn't interrupt. Thank you, Your Honor.
Question. Does this remind you now that he's going to be in?
No,
Speak over each other, please.
Thank you again. And again, I apologize. I should have recused myself or transferred the case, but I did not punish or give unnecessarily favorable treatment to the man either. He got his probation. On he went.
Paragraph 76 of the complaint. They mention a text. You're talking about the docket from hell, filled with tatted up, overweight, half-assed, English-speaking, gap-toothed, slank hoes.
Correct. It's flattery. Come on. I apologize, Your Honor. She was there to incite Laverne to basically throw me out the house, so I'd come running to her, and then she'd take me back into her arms. I did not think it would get to that extreme. I mean, to me, this was already bad television. Her answer was, I felt I had to do it. When I said, okay, what are we going to do about this? And then she says, oh, guess what? No, now I'm having twins. You know, as in my late 50s, I'm not looking to be a new dad. She gets from Wade her November house note, and she gets the termination, and we all go away.
Did you have any other thoughts about it?
Oh, yeah, that she's clearly looking to bring me down. This is at the time when Laverne and I are trying to work Miss Mott to get the termination so we can all walk away. I'll need just a minute. I'm not techno savvy at all.
No, not savvy at all. And that was in his own defense. He's going to be cross-examined next Tuesday, and he's going to be eaten alive.
What do you think he's going to say on the cross?
I think he just said it. I mean, basically, they're going to pull all this stuff up. Did you lie when you said you eventually recused yourself because your children had met? Not that you two were sleeping together or sharing a house or paying the bills, or there's a lot of it.
And again, it's not the sex or the adultery that's illegal, it's the possibility that sex may have influenced his decision in court.
Making on the bench.
And he made a mockery of the bench. That's part of this thing. You can be removed just for being a buffoon. You can. Judges are held to a higher standard.
All right, Charlie.
Next
See you
week.
Tuesday.
All right, thank you.